Somebody tells you something happened. You remember it clearly. And then, calmly, without raising their voice, they tell you it never happened at all, that you are remembering it wrong, that you are, frankly, a little too sensitive. 10 minutes later, you are the one apologizing. This is not an accident. It is not a misunderstanding. It is a tool, and it works on smart, capable, emotionally healthy people every single day, because it is not designed to look like an attack. It is designed to look like a normal conversation. Manipulation almost never announces itself. It hides inside tone of voice, timing, and the assumption that you will doubt yourself before you doubt them. Today, we are dragging 5 of the most common tactics into the light. By the end of this video, you will be able to name 5 manipulation tactics the moment they happen to you. And more importantly, you will know the exact counter move for each one. Tactic 1. Gaslighting. Named after an old play where a husband dims the gas lights in his house, then insists to his wife that they are burning as bright as ever, until she starts to believe she is losing her mind. The modern version is the same trick with words instead of lamps. Someone rewrites a shared memory in real time. I never said that. You're overreacting. That never happened. The goal is not to win one argument. The goal is to make you distrust your own memory and perception permanently, so that eventually you outsource reality checking to them completely. Once that happens, you stop trusting the one witness who was actually there: yourself. Here is the fix, and it is almost embarrassingly simple. Write it down. Not for court, not for revenge, just for you. A one-line note in your phone, time-stamped, the moment something happens. Tuesday, 8 p.m., he said X. Gaslighting depends entirely on your memory being the only copy of events, so the instant a second copy exists outside your head, the tactic loses its power. When the rewrite comes later, you are not arguing from a fuzzy feeling anymore. You are checking a record. You do not even need to show it to anyone. You just need to know, with certainty, that you are not the unreliable one in the room. Now, Tactic 2 starts sweet, almost too sweet. Tactic 2, love bombing followed by the drop. It starts with overwhelming affection, constant texting, big declarations, gifts, a relationship that feels like it is moving at double speed. Because it is. This intensity is not always romance. Sometimes it is a deposit, made specifically so a withdrawal can happen later. Once you are attached, the warmth becomes conditional, arriving only after good behavior, disappearing the moment you have an opinion of your own. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. You are not chasing love anymore. You are chasing the return of something that used to be constant and unconditional, which keeps you working harder for less and less. The fight back here is pace, not suspicion. Genuine connection can survive going slowly. Manufactured intensity cannot, because it depends on skipping the part where you actually get to know someone before you are emotionally invested. So treat speed itself as data. If someone is planning a future with you in week 2 or punishing you with silence in week 3, that swing is the information, not a side detail. Ask plainly, does the warmth stay steady when I disagree with this person, or only when I comply? Steady affection does not evaporate the moment you have a boundary. If it does, you just met the real pattern weeks ahead of schedule. Tactic 3 is quieter, and it usually comes from people who love you. Tactic 3, weaponized guilt. This one rarely comes from strangers. It comes from parents, partners, close friends, the people whose disappointment actually lands. The line sounds like, after everything I've done for you, or, fine, I'll just handle it myself, said with a sigh perfectly calibrated to be heard. Notice what is missing. Any actual argument about whether your choice was wrong. There is no reasoning here, only pressure applied directly to your sense of obligation. Guilt itself is a healthy emotion when you have actually done something wrong. Weaponized guilt is different. It is guilt manufactured on demand, aimed at a choice you were completely entitled to make, and it counts on you being unable to tell the two apart in the moment. The fight back is one question, asked silently, every time. Did I actually do something wrong here? Or does someone just dislike the outcome? Real guilt points at an action. Weaponized guilt points at your entire character over a single normal decision. Once you separate those two things, the sigh loses most of its voltage, because you can feel the discomfort of disappointing someone without automatically concluding that you failed them. You are allowed to sit with both at once. Someone is upset, and you still did nothing wrong. That combination is uncomfortable. It is also survivable, and it is a far better place to stand than reversing a fair decision just to make the sighing stop. Tactic 4 has a name that sounds like a robot: DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. Watch the sequence. You raise a real, reasonable concern. Step 1, denial. That's not what happened. Step 2, attack. Actually, you're the one who always does this. Step 3, the reversal somehow. Within 90 seconds, you are comforting the person who upset you, apologizing for bringing it up in the first place. The conversation started with your legitimate complaint and ended with you managing their feelings instead. This is not you being weak or confused. DARVO is a documented, predictable pattern precisely because reversing blame that fast works remarkably well on people who are naturally fair-minded and quick to self-examine. The fight back is narrower than it sounds. Name the pattern out loud and refuse to let the topic move. I brought up X. We are not done talking about X yet. Say it plainly, without matching their intensity. DARVO depends on speed and topic switching. So the moment you calmly anchor the conversation back to the original point, the reversal loses its main engine. You do not need to win the argument in one shot. You just need to stop the conversation from quietly becoming about something else entirely. If the topic keeps sliding no matter how many times you anchor it, that itself is useful information about how this conversation and this person actually operate. Tactic 5 is the slowest one and the hardest to notice while it is happening. The escalating ask, sometimes called foot in the door. It never opens with the big request. It opens small. Cover one extra shift. Lend a small amount, just this once. You say yes, reasonably, because it really was small. 2 weeks later, the ask is bigger, and it gets compared not to your normal limits, but to the last thing you already agreed to, which makes it look reasonable by contrast. Bigger than before, but bigger than what, exactly? Each yes quietly resets the baseline for what counts as normal, the same way a slowly heated pot never gives the frog inside a single obvious moment to jump. The fix is to stop comparing each request to the last one you agreed to, and start comparing it to your original baseline, the limit you would have set on day 1 before any of this began. Ask plainly, would I say yes to this exact request from a stranger, with no history attached? If the answer is no, the size of the staircase behind you does not matter. And here is the pattern underneath all 5 tactics. Every single one works by making you doubt your own read of the situation, whether that is your memory, your affection, your guilt, your version of events, or your own limits. The counter to all of them is the same instinct: strengthened. Trust the version of events you experienced firsthand. So, 5 tactics, 5 counters. Gaslighting, beaten by writing it down. Love bombing, beaten by watching the pace, not the promises. Weaponized guilt, beaten by separating real wrongdoing from someone's disappointment. DARVO, beaten by calmly anchoring the topic. And the escalating ask, beaten by measuring against your original baseline, not the last thing you agreed to. None of these require you to become suspicious of everyone around you. They just require you to notice the moment your own reality starts getting edited by someone else and to trust the original, unedited version. That instinct was accurate long before anyone tried to talk you out of it. If this helped you spot something you have felt but never had words for, subscribe, because next time we are correcting 5 facts you learned in school that are completely wrong.